Okay.
I wish it would stop you at least.
It's safe to say.
Death can't stop us.
I wish it would stop
Oh,
you
we
at
got
least.
dual blades this time.
It's
Dual
safe to say we're
daggers,
currently
looks
living
like?
through a golden age for swordplay games. Sekiro and Ghost of Tsushima lead a pack of accomplished duelers where every strike, lunge and parry feels supremely satisfying. Hoping to find a place among them is Onimusha Way of the Sword, Capcom's long-awaited return to a series slumbering since the PS2 days. And
There's two bars? Why are there two bars?
based on a small sample I've been able to play at Gamescom 2025, I'd say its chances are looking very good indeed.
Why are there two health bars? But apparently the red one matters less compared to the yellow bar?
No challenge.
Set in a dark fantasy reimagining of Kyoto during the Edo period of Japan, Onimusha Way of the Sword has you take up the sharpened blades of Miyamoto Musashi, a swordsman sporting both the face of the late legendary actor Mihune Toshiro and a talking gauntlet that eats the souls of dead enemies.
The power of the Omni can sway the rise as well. It must have been awakened by the Dark Master of sorts.
Okay. Again, the Amazon, come on. We could never have enough Amazon, right?
What's that?
That second point is the more pertinent one. Fallen foes drop souls, represented by flames that float around the battlefield before being sucked up by your hungry jewelry. Right, before you get any wrong ideas, Onimusha may have souls, but it is absolutely not a Souls-like. On its default action difficulty setting, Way of the Sword is not particularly punishing, at least not in this 30-minute demo, which admittedly does feel plucked from a very early stage in the story. It certainly requires skill to get the most out of its enjoyably flashy combat, but generous parry windows, a block that protects from all angles, and cushioned enemy attacks mean Onimusha seems on track to be one for all action fans,
nice.
not just the FromSoft fanatics.
You get
And while I would have
multiple
liked to have
kills,
faced a steeper
parry
challenge in this
kills,
demo,
too.
the foes I faced, especially the end-of-level boss, felt well judged.
And there's like R1 for the hand skills.
That's your best.
Oh, your weapon
I'm particularly impressed by how
transforms?
combat is built on a foundation of both
Your
health
sword
and stamina.
transforms?
Enemies are,
And that's what
of
the
course,
R
defeated
triggers
by
for?
bottoming out their health bars.
Okay.
But each
Oh, that's really cool. Wait, hold on. I was not paying attention. I was so enamored that.
That's your best.
Then dual blades.
I'm
You're gonna have dual
particularly
blades
impressed
for
by how
short.
combat is built.
Oh, okay. So, how does that work then? So, you build up meter to then be able to transform your weapon, and then after a while, you go back to your normal sword. Okay.
Built on a foundation of both health and stamina. Enemies are, of course, defeated by bottoming out their health bars, but each time you strike or deflect their attacks, you erode away their stamina bar.
Okay. Red stamina, yellow's HP.
If that hits zero, the foe becomes exhausted, quite literally pausing to catch their breath. This is, of course, the perfect time to strike. A single button
Or
press triggers
square.
a break Eaton move that violently dismembers your target. The animations are gloriously extravagant and can be chained together if a couple of enemies have been exhausted at the same time.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
For
Pretty
regular
cool.
enemies, breaking their stamina spells instant death, and because parries quickly exhaust fodder, you're rewarded for honing that skill. You take less damage and get to witness cool kills. I'm deeply amused by how you can deflect arrows back at archers who then, winded by their own projectile, stand around simply awaiting their fate of single-click decapitation.
Okay, you can parry the arrows back at them. Not actual physical, it's not proper physics, but sure, that works. Of all the times I keep looking at these, that's definitely a Japanese office.
But things change when it comes to stamina bar at least once before being able to deal the final. Is a much Sasaki Ganryu, a tall, gangly samurai powered up by his own gauntlet, is a much fiercer affair in which you'll deplete his stamina bar at least once before being able to deal the final blow. In this situation, is a final clash against the exuberant Sasaki Ganryu.
I missed out on something. The volume was really weird too.
But things change when it comes to boss fights. The demo's final clash against the exuberant Sasaki Ganryu, a tall, gangly samurai powered up by his own gauntlet, is a much fiercer affair in which you'll deplete his stamina bar at least once.
Again, we don't know what the purpose of dual gauntlets are for, because I don't remember instances in other Onimusha games to where there was other people with gauntlets. Onimusha 3 was the only other one to where Jean-Pierre was a character in the game, he had his own gauntlet with his own movesets.
Before being able to deal the final blow. In this situation, an alternative version of Break Eason plots 2 marks on your target. Strike the red one, and you'll be rewarded with a burst of extra damage. Hit the purple to generate a bonus batch of souls.
Would you just die?
Done having fun yet?
Uh-oh.
And that brings us back to souls. These flickering flames are color-coded. Red souls are used to purchase upgrades, while blue souls feed your Oni power gauge, which when full can be used to unleash special attacks. Yellow souls, meanwhile, are rarer and replenish your health. All 3 are vital, not just for their individual properties, but for how they form a cycle.
What could be more fun?
For instance, in the demo, Musashi was equipped with the 2 Celestials, a twin dagger special weapon that reaps yellow souls from fallen enemies. It can only be used when the Oni power gauge is topped off. As it's a powerful attack that requires resources, it's sensible to use it against tougher opponents who, naturally, deal more damage. Killing such foes with the 2 Celestials basically refunds damage that you take thanks to the yellow souls the attack creates. And so there's the cycle. You kill foes to gain blue souls, which powers up the ability to use special attacks, which cause your enemy to drop yellow souls, which instantly heal you from the wounds sustained during that fight. It perhaps doesn't feel quite that elegant in game, but there's a clear system upon which battle thrives. There are other examples of that too. Successful parries generously build a diamond-shaped meter that eventually causes your blade to temporarily erupt with damage-buffing blue sparks. Hitting that mark feels fantastic. The animation alone makes it feel as if the battle has been hit by a shot of adrenaline. But if you can continue a successful chain of deflects, you can sustain that buff seemingly indefinitely. It's another smart system that rewards consistent skill with your blade. It's only when I came to write this preview that I realised that Onimusha is very much a game about managing gauges and meters. You need to deplete health bars and stamina meters, build power gauges, and keep other buff-providing vessels topped up. On paper, that may sound dull and overly mathematical for a game about supernatural samurai fighting through demon-infested feudal Japan, but in practice, it works well. That's entirely down to the fact that the implement for juggling those meters, your sword, feels fantastic to wield.
There's certain button combos too, so you can parry and button combo. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of fun. Just the idea that, like, the way it's implemented, really fun. I like it.
The parry window may be wide, but the ringing clang of a deflect is supremely satisfying, especially because the subsequent counterattack animation is so extravagantly slick. Slicing through the amusingly gross regular Genma enemies, which range from mutant swordsmen to what I can only describe as demonic floating Furby heads, feels great, but it's the boss fight that really sold me on Onimusha's swordplay credentials. There's almost certainly a secret science to nailing the feel of when steel lands on steel, and Capcom has absolutely cracked that. There's an energetic flow each time the warriors' blades meet and push each other away. And while the duel against Ganryu doesn't feel destined to go down as an all-timer, it is ultimately too easy to enter those halls. I think it acts as a decent enough promise that, further into the campaign, there will be something that stands up to the very best of Ghost of Tsushima. The Gamescom demo may have been short, little more than some winding paths and a boss fight in a temple, but it's more than enough to convince me that Onimusha Way of the Sword is built on rock-solid swordplay fundamentals. I'm genuinely excited to master them and take on its campaign's toughest challenges, but it's also made me curious about several other things. As a tutorial-styled section, the demo had no real exploration opportunities, so it's currently unclear what kind of scope the environments will work with. Then there's the story, which caught me off guard with its humour. There's hints of an amusingly rocky relationship between Musashi and the voice inside his Oni gauntlet.
To purify this temple, you're going to find the source of this mission.
Right, Jordan lady. Enough of that. If you're awake, I've got
I
questions.
refuse.
What do you mean you refuse?
Listen here.
I won't answer. Questions otherwise. The gauntlet laid in.
And the pre-boss battle banter was just on the right side of goofy. I'm fascinated to see where Capcom has drawn the line between a dark samurai tale and sparky anime humour. But even if that line ultimately ends up drawing an uneven balance, I'm confident Onimusha's razor-sharp combat will more than make up for a few bad jokes. For more from Capcom, check out our Gamescom 2025 previews of Resident Evil Requiem and Pragmata. And for everything else, stick with IGN.
You know, that was a really good preview. I'm excited to see where this game goes because it's definitely not going to be a Souls-like game, but in previous Onimusha titles, you have instances of, like, currencies. And I like the idea that you're building a gauge, because in the first Onimusha, you can craft weapons, but in this game, it gives you the special weapons as a feature, but you need to master the single sword style. So when you build up meter, and then you can unrelease certain skills, which is really great, and then it gives you a cycle of blue energies to level up your gauge, red to have currency to upgrade your character, and yellow to recover, which is which is preferred during a battle, I guess. That's my understanding. So yeah, no, that's pretty cool.